Gentlemen, do you know what day it is?
Friday.
Today
Laundry
on.
day.
I thought that was Halloween.
I thought so too, but I was wrong.
No, it's Friday the 13th.
I'm wrong over the intro.
Yeah.
Don't fuck up your horror movies over the intro. Stop with the cans.
Welcome.
Do the cans before we go live. Like, you're killing me.
All right. Whew. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Press B to Cancel, your favorite podcast on Friday the 13th.
It's a killer show.
Yeah. If you can't tell, we're talking Friday the 13th. But no, we are not talking the day. We are not talking the movie series. We are talking the absolutely epically wonderful, lovely NES game from 1989, Friday the 13th.
Yeah. I was going to say, we're talking about Friday the 13th, the good version of the game, because there are two, but then I realized maybe it's not a good version. I don't know if that exists.
Look, don't spoil the show yet. I'm trying to lead people down the path of excitement before we dash their dreams.
You're right. This could be as good as Circus Charlie. What am I thinking? This could be a fantastic retro.
It sure is.
Yeah,
it sure is good.
If there's any game that this correlates the best to, it's definitely Circus Charlie. Can confirm.
Second only to Balloon Fight. But I'm not alone, everybody. I'm never alone. So alone. I'm joined by three of my friends, fellow podcast hosts, and lovely human beings. Werewolf, how are you today?
I am well. Like Jason, I am back again.
And Charred Monk, how are you?
I'm okay. It was a long day today, but I'm happy to talk about a terrible game. The one game that I will not gush about this year, probably.
All right. And I'm joining my Canadian friend wearing my toque. Stick Jake, how are you today?
We got to do this. Is that what we're doing? Okay. All right. There you go. I got some bedhead. I can cover it up. I'm doing great. But what's that first rule of horror movies? Never go out alone. I'll make sure I never go out alone.
Isn't it don't have sex? Isn't that the first rule?
Well, I am married, so that doesn't happen anymore, right? That's how that works.
Wow. Okay, well, you might not be married after this episode.
She doesn't watch our show. None of our spouses watch this show.
Mine might be in chat right now.
Actually,
it is a chat. Cheers.
My wife does tune in for our bracket episodes. Only those.
Oh, really?
She likes the infighting, does she?
She likes the anger.
Yeah, she does.
Are we all Canadian now?
Yes.
She's all, those get heated. I watch those ones.
Nice. All right, so we are talking a game released in 1989 by LGN, developed by Atlus. Friday the 13th, a video game on the NES, not the one that came out in 2017.
Which actually shuts down this month. I just saw that today. It ends, its servers shut down at the end of December, which is kind of interesting. So the NES version continues on.
All right.
Were you guys surprised to hear that it was developed by Atlus? I had no idea that Atlus is the one who created this game.
I was actually.
Yeah.
And Atlus Japan, and then it was never released in Japan.
Is this the same Atlus that did everybody's favorite RPGs, Persona?
Yes. This is Atlus.
Wow.
And one of the testers on the Friday the 13th NES game ended up being one of the guys who created Shin Megami Tensei, which is what led to Persona. Yeah. So totally the same company. It's wild. Apparently, like, the producer of this one was one of the founders of Atlus, and he was working on 8 games at the same time or something. So it just, his workload was
Well, he certainly wasn't working on this one.
Well, I wanted to
definitely a side project.
I kind of wanted to start because we start from a place of LGN. And LGN, to my recollection, only has one game that I would probably call a pass, and that to me would be Jaws if GP is playing it.
I was gonna say Jaws. Jaws is not a bad game. It's just criminally short for the money that you would have paid for it. But I think Jaws
You
is
get
a
to
fine
fly
game.
away in a biplane.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th brings back some of that Jaws mechanic in that you're constantly fighting the final boss of the game,
Yeah.
That's
and
fair,
you only
yeah.
bring him down chunk by chunk, and he runs off.
Yeah, you have to defeat him. Spoiler, everybody, you have to defeat him 3 times. And sometimes he runs away before you can defeat him.
Sometimes.
So,
Like
yeah,
most of the
well,
time.
yeah, most of the time. Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
If you were coming at me with a knife, I'd probably run from you too.
So,
Hockey mask or no.
right. So now LGN, I watched a few videos. I don't have quite the experience with the NES that you all do. But it appears that LGN, from my understanding, actually didn't develop any games of their own. They actually worked with other studios, in this case Atlus, to produce games, and then they just published them.
Yeah, it's always been nebulous. I thought they developed a handful of these. So, again, maybe that's why I'm so surprised to see Atlus's name attached to this one because it's a video game. But I think they kind of obscured who was developing some of these titles to try and take full credit of it. I do know that LGN was pushing hard and bringing licensed games to North America. That was kind of their jam for the period, right? So you had was it Jaws and Friday the 13th, and what else did they have? They had a few, I think,
Roger
licensed
Rabbit.
properties.
Roger
They did
Rabbit.
Roger
yes.
Rabbit. I thought they did Roger Rabbit, which is
Yeah.
also a god awful game.
Yeah, they did Back to the Future, Pictionary,
Back to the Future is so bad.
The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, Karate Kid was not that bad. Well, maybe it's bad. It's better than their other ones.
I felt like LGN was highly into the movie.
It was.
adaptation.
Oh,
I
yeah, it
mean,
was very much
of the
licensed
games,
games.
They started out with licensed action figures, right? I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is
One
that
of
what
their
they did?
earlier
Yeah.
licensed games was just called NFL.
What
That's my
aspect
favorite-
do you?
That's
My favorite
Yeah.
team,
What-
NFL.
What aspect do you play?
That's the Rob Lowe meme.
Are you the
What do you-
are you the commissioner of the NFL? I mean, what?
What's your favorite team? NFL. I like them
Their
all.
toys are bad.
Oh yeah,
They're
Oh,
like
yeah.
bad knockoff toys. I didn't realize they made toys. I thought they just did
Yeah.
games.
No, that's
Oh,
actually I
wow.
think where they
No,
started.
they just make bad stuff. That's what they do.
I have to pull some of this
Yeah.
up. That's crazy.
Bad toys that are probably worth gargantuan amounts of money these days.
Yeah, no, sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so we know LJN has a history, and yeah. So this was developed by Atlus in Japan. Notably, has a like the intro screen to this game sets a
I had that lined
a
up.
theme that makes you think it might be your good game. Because it is the Jason mask. A knife comes and jams itself into the eye. You feel like okay, this
Yeah,
is legit.
Can I mention something real quick? Most of the time when I first fire up Friday the 13th for the NES, I forget that it does that. So it jump scares me because it's completely quiet, and then you hear the as the knife flies into the mask.
Yep. I mean, it starts with a jump scare, right?
It jump scared me when I was watching a video about it today.
And then you enter the remainder of this quality product. All right, so Chardmonk, I know you've played this. You've
Don't
played
remind
this
me.
on stream.
I
Do you
have.
want to talk a little bit about this?
I played this a long time ago. I was trying to get set up for some kind of charity event, and it was on a Friday the 13th. So I was like, what a better game to play than Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th. Boy, was I fucking wrong. This game is awful. It's you you are represented by, I think, 6 of the camp counselors
Yeah,
of camp.
so 6 camp
of camp.
counselors.
And your job is to find Jason and save the children. Find the children that are hidden amongst the cabins, and then kill Jason, or at least kill him off to do that. But while you're side scrolling, and each camp counselor has a different attribute. It's really noticeable in the jump or in the speed of the character. It's really the only difference is some of them are faster and some of them jump higher. You chase it to this ungodly repetitive music that makes Mario RPG soundtrack sound fucking phenomenal. And then once a child is in danger, you get this really annoying beeping sound.
The Jason siren.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as when Link is almost out of hearts in Legend of Zelda. But instead of being a constant beep, it's a bloop 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 bloop, and you're like, you keep your phone's going off, or you have an alarm that's going off, and it's just terrible. And so all you want to do is find where Jason is to shut the sound up. You don't even care if you save the child or not.
You don't care if you save the children. You just want him to stop screaming.
You just want the sound to stop. So, are the lambs still screaming, Clarice? And the map is huge. It's a big circle, right? You go around the circle, and then there's a forest. But what I don't fucking comprehend in this particular game is why is there zombies or
zombies?
Mudmen?
I always thought that they were wolfmen, but they're zombies.
They look like wolfmen. They look like shaggy wolf zombies.
I always thought they were zombies too.
So you want the lore behind these enemies? I have the lore. I actually have the manual pulled up.
Hit me.
Okay, so here are some of the enemies you can face in Friday the 13th on the NES, an LGN classic. There are zombies, which are the mindless undead who are the past victims of one of Jason's murderous rampages. Torch them and you will lose some life energy, but watch out because zombies can appear on land or from underwater. Okay.
Why? No, wait. Hold on. When did Jason become a necromancer?
Well, it's absolutely lore from the movies. We all remember the zombies in the movies.
Right. Well, and the counselors...
Clearly, he can bring the dead back to life. He does it to himself dozens of times across the movie franchise.
Okay, well, all right.
You don't recognize the camp counselor characters?
A bit of the magic. Okay.
Such notable counselor characters as George and Chrissy.
Mark.
My favorite counselors from the franchise. Laura.
Yeah.
Paul.
Sounds like a fucking...
Can we continue that onto the another character just down and to the right from the zombie?
Jason's mother.
Yeah, more proof that he's a necromancer. Jason's mother. Poor Jason can't bear to part with his mother, even if she has been dead for years. He keeps her ghostly head in the same room where he stores his weapons. A frightening watchdog against anyone fool enough to seek out his secret hideaway.
What is this, Jason Voorhees Bates? Like, what the fuck?
Right?
My favorite scene from the movies.
Yeah. So one thing I want to point out also is when you, like, one of the first entries of text that you see says that you need to use the torches to light the fireplaces, which is wrong.
Yeah.
The game tells you the wrong information. You actually use the lighters. To light the fireplaces.
So torch is also slang for a lighter, I think. I think it's a UK slang word.
But there are torches in the game.
Yeah, you get torches.
And they help you see. They help you see in the caves.
Okay.
Yes.
And then there's also flashlights too, which can also be called a torch.
So his argument is valid because it's used for something else, not used for the game.
Yeah.
So anyways, so you're doing the side scrolling, you're jumping over zombies, or you're throwing knives or rocks or whatever you have at them. Notable camp counselor Debbie is apparently proficient with knives and dodging. And then you can enter each room, and then it turns into like almost a dungeon crawler type thing where you are pressing forward or left and right to look around the room. You find notes, you find weapons, you find lighters, you find items, you can find all stuff. Or you find Jason lying in wait to pummel your ass into the ground. Now, when you get into a fight, a one-on-one fight with Jason in the cabins, not in the side-scrolling part, you have to dodge, dodge, dive.
That's exactly what that phrase is.
It's just stupid. And so you have to time your dodge from when he punches at you,
Uh-huh.
and then you have to find a window to throw rocks or knives or whatever weapon you have at him. And it is lengthy, it's annoying, and it's tiresome. And then when you finally get the rhythm down, you fall asleep doing it because it's the most boring encounter you could possibly do.
Well, and he runs away.
And then he runs away after so many hits. So,
Yeah.
and then when you finally kill him, they're like, "Oh, but Jason's coming back." And you're like,
And then he changes his tactics. He actually moves faster on the second day, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
He's like Jesus has written, and on the second day, Jason was faster.
It's almost like Punch-Out controls, kind of, but in order to dodge, you have to do down, left, down, right, and on a normal D-pad, that never feels right. Like when I played it on, I have an all-button stick behind me. When I play on that, it's actually not so bad, but trying to play this on a D-pad sucks to try and dodge. I kept losing counselors, like when one dies and you have to pick another one and go back to where you were. And I went through like 4 or 5 counselors dying this way. And I really wanted to give up until I realized the best way to beat them is you have to get an upgraded weapon, which you get by just standing outside and killing zombies. It's an infinite loop. You just sit there chucking your stones at the zombies for 10 minutes until you have the best gear, and then you can usually take down Jason. It's a weird game.
Weird is a nice way of putting shitty.
Yeah.
It's not a good game. It's not good. You easily get lost on the map. You'll pull up the map and you'll be like, I need to go to this cabin because that's where the kid's screaming from.
And
then you're on the other side of the map, and you're like, how the hell did I get here?
In the side-scrolling pieces, if you go left, it actually moves you right.
Yes.
On the map.
It's completely backwards.
Yeah.
That is bizarre.
It's
because
really
you go clockwise if you go left, and then, it's stupid. But you know what? I give it credit for the ambition, though, in this, because you do have 6 counselors, and all 6 are on the map at any given time, and they do move around a little bit. So the idea is you would switch to the one that is fast moving and use him to like explore the map and search for houses. And then when a child's in danger, you look at where the house is on the map and you would flip to a counselor that's close to it to go after Jason. But you get a little bit strategic with it, because if you take too many hits and you have a guy who's low on health, you go to a house which has another counselor and you give your items to them and you switch to them. So there is some like tactical stuff. I mean, it's nothing heavy duty. But the idea of passing items or healing your other counselors and using them to kind of like scatter on the map, that's pretty ambitious for an NES title.
I just need my counselors to be more qualified. Apparently, that's what.
Look, Mark has plenty of credentials in the fighting the undead. He can do basket weaving.
Mark was a summer lifeguard. That's it.
Look,
Those are his
Mark may have credentials, but George is a pile of shit.
Let's say George doesn't even know CPR. And he probably drives a Daewoo.
The worst, like the ones that can jump 10 feet in the air are the good ones, because then you can dodge everything no problem. But there are a couple counselors who can barely hop over a zombie's head are the worst to try and explore the map with. They don't get you anywhere. I took more damage landing on zombies than I did from Jason with those characters. So there's definitely some that suck.
And then the game trains you to jump over the zombies or over the wolves or whatever. And then you get a good weapon. And you're used to jumping over these things, and a weapon drops and you jump into it.
Yep.
And you lose your good weapon.
Yep. It's the Fester's Quest item down.
Syndrome. Yes. Yeah. At least you aren't shooting walls and it's just terminating your bullet.
Yep.
I want to talk a moment about the end game, the death game screen. So this is NES. This is NES that was notorious for not killing people. They were, sleepy, or they were retired, or they were, subdued, or they were whatever. And the game over screen literally is one of the best ever. You and your friends are dead. Game over.
I mean, it's not wrong. What it is. Not to mention, at least it doesn't call out that you killed all the children.
Yeah, you gotta save I forget how many you have to get.
15.
Like 15 kids.
There's 15. There's 15, but you have to have one alive at the end.
What you have to? They have to all be not.
You have to have one.
You just
At the
need one paying customer to
hey,
keep the camp
you know
alive.
what?
That's all.
You know, it's a good summer camp if you manage to save one child out of 15.
That was my
Pretty
goal as a
optimistic.
camp. Yeah, that was my goal as a camp counselor.
I mean, like I've sent my
Lost
kids to
so
summer
many
camp a
friends in
few
camp,
years
but
now.
I'm the one.
As long as I get one back, I'm good. I don't need both to come back. It's okay. All we need is one.
I didn't conquer.
Okay, let's talk Jason. Jason is purple with a blue
Yes.
face and hands.
Yes.
So just like the movies.
Yeah,
Right?
more accurate.
Yeah. Well, I watched a video that actually talked about this. And there was a poster for Friday the 13th 3 in Japan, and only in Japan, that he has a purple suit, and because of the lighting of the poster, his face and hands look blue. And since this was Atlus developing a game in Japan,
They win with it.
I mean, does that
Blue Man Group member
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees
yeah.
plays the beer bong. I don't know what the hell he would play as the Blue Man Group, but this game makes no sense.
Yeah.
So, also, my favorite with the icons in this game is the 5 camp counselors that you have on the screen. The one above children, they are all frowning because they clearly love their job. But in their portrait, they are ecstatic. So it's almost like how they feel
And
inside and their outward expression of it.
I
when you
always
see-
thought that was weird.
Yeah, well, and when you see them in the cabins, they
Yeah.
have no face.
They're faceless.
Yeah, but I've seen those movies, and the counselors are usually getting laid. So I mean, that's probably why they're happy. It's either getting drunk, getting laid, getting high, and then dealing with Jason. That's okay.
We all know the
Like all my
rules.
summer camps.
We all know the rules. You don't have sex if you're in a horror movie.
And you don't say you'll be right back.
Yeah, I want to mention one thing. There's actually 2 game over screens in this game.
Oh, okay.
The other one is if you don't save the children, if the kids all get wiped out. It says Jason wiped out the kids. Game over.
Like
So
kids are wiped out. You're done.
so there is a screen that talks about how kids died.
Yes. Also, I want to mention in the manual, I just looked over it. The manual says absolutely nothing about you have 3 days to do this.
Right,
It also doesn't say you have to kill Jason 3 times.
right.
It's a short
Both
summer.
of those win conditions are left out of the manual conveniently.
Yeah, it
You have
just says,
3
watch out,
do
Jason's
before all
still
the
alive
children-
and stronger than
the
before,
children go
and then he repeats the loop. Yeah, but you're right. Since when you mentioned earlier, he does come back with he's faster, stronger. I want to say he has a machete in his hand for the second round, and I think something else in the third round as well. So that's the loop, right? All right, you find Jason, kill him, and repeat it 3 times, and then eventually you get a weapon I think that can take him down for good. It's the torch, the fire,
Torch or pitchfork do the same amount of damage.
pitchfork.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that a
Notable
common
Jason
thing on
killing
a
weapon, pitchfork.
at a campground? A pitchfork, really?
No.
What camp did you go to? It's farmers camp. You got to learn how to bake hay.
For the Amish, build
Yeah.
ye old barn.
I want to mention something that I just saw in the video playing in the background. Lighting the fireplaces.
Mm.
If you light all the fireplaces with the same character, you get a flashlight.
Oh wow!
I didn't know that. I don't
The
know. enough
flashlight
about
lets you
this
see the
game.
secret passages
Yeah.
hidden in the background
Right.
in the cave. You don't need the flashlight to use them. You can
Right.
just wander through the cave and hit up, and you'll find your way through the cave, which is how I did it as a kid. I didn't know you could get a flashlight in this. I was like,
Well-
why am I wandering the
Mark.
darkness in a cave?
And the cave is entirely optional too.
Right, I was going to ask,
Yeah.
what is the point of the cave? What does that get you? Is that where Jason's
it's,
mother is?
That's Jason's mother.
Okay.
And you can get the sweater. If you kill Jason's mother, you can get the sweater. But the problem with the sweater is, well, you
It's
still will
summer.
have to.
Why
well,
would you have a fucking sweater in the summer? That's
Well,
the problem.
And the real problem, yes, and the problem with the sweater also is, I mean, your point is to kill Jason 3 times, and so the sweater makes it so that Jason won't attack. So basically, you're just going to take damage from the zombies and the wolves and the bats.
Is Jason allergic to wool? Is this
Yeah,
why
like,
he
is he
won't?
itchy?
It's his mother's sweater, so he,
Does it make it so that he won't attack at all, or does
it
it
just
make it so that
reduces-
he doesn't? It might make it so you can't run into him when you're running around.
That might be
and
what
just
it is.
in the houses.
Yeah, which it is easier to kill him on the side scrolling than it is in the houses. So he does less damage in the side
Somebody
scrolling.
wearing a sweater in the middle of summer.
So it says
Also,
this is
you can
true.
only. I looked it up. You can only get the sweater on day 2.
Mhm.
that's when it gets chilly out. It says that you
Have you-
wear the sweater, and when you wear the sweater, Jason doesn't attack you. So it's not that he wears it and has a an allergic reaction or something. Yeah.
No, he thinks you're his mom. He's like, "Mommy."
You know, when I put on a sweater, I look exactly like my mother. So
Well, yeah, I can see it.
she's a very nice lady. I don't. None of this makes sense. I sometimes wonder if this is the Batman treatment where it was going to be another game, and then they were like, "Yo, we got to put an IP on this, so let's throw Jason in there."
I don't know.
Like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh, I looked up what the sweater does.
Okay.
It increases your defense. Jason won't deal as much damage to the counselor that's wearing it.
Yes.
I thought it reduced the amount of time
Notable,
he shows
strong,
up.
fibered sweater.
Yeah. Kevlar from the 80s. That was a thing still, right? That goes back.
Yeah,
It's made out of unobtainium.
that's right.
This fucking game. I don't know. Oh, and you fight Jason's mom's head. I forgot. Like, you actually fight it. It's not just chilling. You actually have to fight it. It looks like fucking Medusa from Castlevania.
Before looking in the manual as a kid, I thought it was Medusa when I found her.
Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna have your hair did if you're a head in a jar. So, I mean, unless you're Futurama, then you probably have a hair did specialist.
Imagine if you rented this game and there was no manual. Imagine if you didn't have the manual and you just had to figure this shit out.
Yeah. That was me when I first played it. I didn't know anything about this other than it was a Jason movie.
That was a conscious decision a lot of times back then after the whole rental debacle with Nintendo. I think it was probably a conscious decision. Don't put important information in the game, put it in the manual, because most rental places don't give out the manual with it. Or if they do, it gets destroyed pretty quick or lost or whatever. Other people who rent it don't get that information. Sucks for them. More money for us.
Right.
Yeah, this is definitely a game that is not long. Like, once you know the loop and how to beat it, I think you can beat it within less than 2 hours. I saw some crazy short speed runs. I think it was Arcus was under 3 minutes, but you have to do it within a certain time limit. But it's faster if you know what to do. So it's not a long game. So if you did rent it and you managed to figure it out, that's kind of it's a pretty short time. I'd be kind of upset.
Right.
I think the last couple playthroughs that I've seen of this are like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like no damage playthroughs are like 20 minutes.
Imagine if you rented this, you got good, but you ran out of your rental time and your parents made you take it back. And the next weekend you rented it, but you've become good at this game and you beat it in 20 minutes on your next rental. Imagine how you would feel.
As bad as I did coming back to play it again. Because I'll tell you what, if I had rented this once, it would have been once. It would not have been a second time.
For those watching the YouTube video, I have to pull up a clip in the rowboat section where you're going to the cabin. Jason is in the lake and he's like motorboarding across the water.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, Jason's got a jet ski, an underwater jet ski.
Again, that's my favorite part of the movies. Jason on the jet ski. That's such a great classic movie.
if you do look at Friday the 13th, number 1, he does kind of motorboat out of the lake right at the end. Spoiler.
Gosh, I don't know.
It's
I think
like,
this was not based. This is definitely.
Here.
I think to your question, Chard, like, was this a different game and they slapped an IP on it? I don't think so. I think this was made. I think Atlus sat down, they watched part of a movie and said, "Okay, we got this," and they made something custom to the lore. How many of the films were out by '89? Was it?
We're good.
3.
Well, 3 came out in '82.
Okay, so probably more than that. Number 4 was the last one until number 5.
Yeah, that's how it works. And then 5 was the last one until what, 6?
That works, yeah.
Well, but they called it the final something or other.
What are we up to now?
Looks like 7 came out in '88 and 8 came out in '89.
Fucking Jason almost done.
Well, they went to at least 10 because they had Jason X.
In space. I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Friday the 13th 4 is called the final chapter. The final chapter was number 4.
Right.
Yeah, 5 was a new beginning.
They should have called 5. They should have
8
called
was
5.
Jason Takes Manhattan?
Yeah.
What?
That's not a joke? I thought that was a joke.
Yeah, no, that's
Hold on.
They should have called 5. You fucked up and read the last chapter first. So now get the actual story.
I thought Jason Takes Manhattan
notable
was a
press
gag.
B to cancel listener Paul Rudd was also Jason X.
No, there is a diner scene worth watching from Jason Takes Manhattan.
I might have to watch these. I have not seen any Friday the 13th movies since the early 90s.
Right.
Wow. So the final Friday, Jason X, and then Freddy versus Jason. I remember watching that one. And then there's a reboot, Friday the 13th in 2009.
Well,
I forgot all about that one.
And Jason X was in space, I think.
Yes, which
was.
It was a whole other kind of awful. I remember that one. I liked the sci-fi take on the mask, though. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a pretty awful one. Gosh.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was thinking there was like 1 or 2 movies and they made this game, but no, there's a full-on franchise run into the ground, and then they decided, you know what, LJN's here and they got a bucket full of money, let them make the game.
Yeah.
And not even pick a plot from the movie.
They made Thundercats figurines. Obviously they'll be good at Friday the 13th.
Just let them have it. Fucking ridiculous. You know, they remade a Friday the 13th the game later in years. I think it was
2017. Yeah.
They
but it was
actually they made the retro Jason outfit for that game.
Yes, they did.
So you can wear the blue mask with the purple.
There's a Funko Pop as well.
Well, the 2017 game did that as an apology for all the technical issues during the release.
Yeah. Because that game is supposed to be like a Dead by Daylight kind of game, right?
Yeah.
Right, the asymmetrical. Yeah.
Yeah,
weird.
so apparently Funko Jason Voorhees 057 is purple and blue.
I appreciate the nostalgia hit, but I wonder how many people actually would get that reference. Like how many people actually played this game back in the day. I never rented this one. I never touched it. I'm kind of glad
I never rented it either. I had it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gifted, or did you buy this one?
It was a Christmas gift.
Okay.
Real quick, there's actually an 8-bit style Funko Jason from this.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you want to pull this up,
sure, send me the link.
I am. It is in the chat.
Got it.
That is actually pretty cool. I may have to add that to my wish list.
I gotta see this.
Why does it give me a CAPTCHA? What?
Oh, it's Amazon. You're in Canada.
It must be. That must be.
I got a CAPTCHA too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty freaking cool.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like.
Yeah, that. I may have to wish list that.
You're like, after the episode, I'm gonna pick one of these up.
Well, you know, sometimes you pick up those. It's so bad, it's good.
Well, because there is amiibos, right? I mean, everybody loves amiibos from Nintendo, but they did a couple 8-bit pixel ones. There's one for Link and one for Mario, and I have those, and those are the two that I wanted because they're fun, right? Like a 2D sprite in a 3D form is kind of interesting, and that's what this reminds me of. But yeah, the purple outfit though is definitely iconic. I do appreciate it. Such a bizarre one.
Yeah.
Well, do you think this is one of the worst NES games? It can't be the worst. Like
No.
it's not bottom tier.
Circus Charlie
It's
exists.
not Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, so
That's
awful.
That's in truth.
And which is worse, this or Roger Rabbit?
oh, this.
Yeah,
This.
probably
You think
this.
so?
Yeah.
You can progress with Roger Rabbit. This one is just like monotony.
I was able to beat Roger Rabbit as a child.
Yeah.
All right.
How? You're too good. That's
Well,
how.
okay, not able to beat it, but I was able to get to the final boss. Like you do all that progression, and then Doom.
Lining up to punch him
I
in
have
the
no
fucking
idea.
head.
There's guides that tell you how to beat Judge Doom. I can't do it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Roger Rabbit, but yeah, it's
But
impossible.
we are
I don't know how
talking
people
about
do
the
it.
glory of LJN.
Yeah, LJN stands for Let's Just Not.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was gonna fucking say.
There was a Dick Tracy video game. I'm just double checking.
Yeah.
I don't think it was LGN.
That was not them.
That was
Yeah,
not that.
but I think the Dick
wasn't
Tracy game
great,
is way worse than
but it
this.
wasn't
Yeah, it's
them.
worse than this. Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's a lot of bad video game movies or games based on video games.
I'm not sure there's.
tired.
I mean, with Batman being probably one of the few like movie games on the NES that translated well.
But it's not even the movie though. It's just, I mean, it's the Batmobile from the movie, but the bosses are different.
Yeah, I mean, the Joker is at the end, so I don't know.
I guess so. But you have Firefly and all the other crazy villains. I don't know.
I know. I just can't think of a single game that was an IP, that was a TV show or a movie that we played that wasn't fucking hot trash. I love Knight Rider. It's one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid. The game is
awful.
garbage. It's awful. Except I found out there's a Knight Rider game for PlayStation 2, which I'm gonna have to go and check out.
Chip and Dale.
Chip and
and
Dale.
Dale.
Not based on a movie.
That's Disney
but
though. The Disney
The
morning
Disney afternoon games
or
were
Disney
pretty
afternoon games were fucking solid. Oh, Tailspin, all of those were solid.
The
DuckTales.
Goonies 2? Does that count as a movie based game? You know, for everybody's favorite sequel to Goonies? I'm just looking at a list.
I never played it, but I've seen it played through. It doesn't seem terrible, but it doesn't make sense. Just like as a standpoint of being a sequel to Goonies, like it's really bizarre.
It's strange. Oh,
Now,
the
is it a
Gremlins.
sequel to
There's
the
a
movie
Gremlins
or
video
sequel
game.
to the game? Oh,
The Gremlins video game is
Gremlins
actually
2.
really good. Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah, I
that.
like that one.
Gremlins
That was
good.
Sunsoft,
Gremlins
right?
good.
Yes. Sunsoft had
Yes.
jamming music, and that was a fun game. So there's a
That
few.
game-
There's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
I know,
couple.
but-
And
hey,
that
but
game
listen.
actually, the Gremlins 2 game made use of like all the new Gremlins from Gremlins 2
Yeah.
and made them bosses. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's a
That
great
was
idea.
Cool game.
Yeah.
I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, right, guys? I mean, you're gonna throw enough shit at the wall, something's gonna stick. So your Gremlins and your Chip and Dales are gonna hang out, but
Was
Let's
Mad
just
Max
say
any
that-
good?
So yeah, Matt.
85%.
So I found a ranking on IMDb of movie NES games, and the winners are RoboCop gets a 6.5,
oof.
Die Hard gets a 6.5, RoboCop 2 gets a 6.3, Untouchables gets a 6.1, but everything else is
Untouchables.
like fives. Yeah.
I'd love to see the Untouchables game. Like, I wonder if it has Sean Connery in it. It's got to, right? Is it digital Sean Connery in that game? That could be interesting.
As long as some things don't react too well to bullets in the game, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I never played. Well, no, I did. I played Mad Max on the NES, but I don't remember much of it. I remember you ran out of gas a lot in that game, and that was basically game over.
Well, that's true to the movie.
But it was an overhead driving game.
Now that said, the modern Mad Max game is good.
Yeah, that looks solid. I watched Merv play that.
That game was
here and there.
like $1
play
the
that.
other day. I was half tempted
Yeah.
to pick it up. It
That
looked
is a
pretty
good game.
Yeah, like I feel movie games today, there's certainly cash grabs, but there are some solid ones, right? There was Vin Diesel Pitch Black, right? There's that Pitch Black, maybe an original story about Butcher Bay or whatever it was called. That one's supposed to be a really great game that came out about 10 years ago or so. So they do exist. So for every cash grab, there's usually at least one good one.
Yeah. Although I think the best ones are like movie adjacent, like the Lord of the Rings games, the Shadow of War and those are
Oh,
great.
Shadow of Mordor, yeah.
Or Shadow of Mordor, but they're not like the movie, right? They're tied to the IP. They're not the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So, which Mad Max is the same. It's not the movie. It's tied to the IP.
I think you can get away with using the name of the franchise and then making your own shit out of it.
And Last of Us from that TV show is fantastic. That game that came from the TV show. And Fallout is also fantastic from the TV show.
But they were already games. So they were just taking the TV show out of the game.
Look, you missed my joke.
I don't care. I'm here to correct some shit. Listen, guys, I opened and closed today, okay? I'm tired. Leave me alone.
All right. Well, we have tangented, which is what we do best. Do we want to keep tangenting, or should we
I do want to make one point about Friday the 13th. I would say this game almost qualifies as a survival horror, even though it doesn't seem to make any survival horror lists.
There's an ambition there, right? Like you're right. It brings up the tension, right? With Jason randomly attacking the map, and you have to hunt him down. And say what you want about the music being awful, but it is suspenseful for what it is for the NES.
All three tones
of it. That intro is pretty suspenseful, but it's definitely ambitious for an NES title, right? You have the side-scrolling bits and platforming and jumping over zombies. That's one part of the game. Then you have that exploring of cabins and boss fights there with a punch-out vibe. It's ambitious. I mean, I was glad I played it this week a little bit to try it out because I never really gave this game a fair shake. That said, it's still awful, but it's different than I was expecting. I didn't expect there to be this idea of like 6 counselors on the map that move around and you can swap bodies. That is pretty ambitious for an NES game, and that's pretty neat. How each one has different stats, right? Whether it's jumping, throwing, all that kind of stuff. Does it matter a whole lot? No, but it's an NES game. But the idea that they took the time to craft that as a system, I think was pretty neat.
And I need to go back to 1989 when this was released, and we didn't have things like Visage and Dead Space, and all those actual survival horror games. So maybe give this one a little bit more credit, Chard. Maybe.
And it has a jump scare right at the beginning.
It does. It has a knife stab in the face.
I'm looking at games that came out that year, and there were a lot of good games that year. So I think we can hold it against Friday the 13th a little bit. That's the year we got Tetris, Ninja Gaiden, Dragon Warrior,
Party.
Mega Man 2, Ninja Turtles.
Listen, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. I think
DuckTales, Lolo, Super Dodgeball.
Yeah,
this game was shit.
Good games.
Okay? It was shit when it came out, and it's shit now, and it was shit when it came out. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, hold on. I got a question for you. Friday the 13th.
And that's just on the NES.
Or Boy and His Blob. Which one would you rather play?
A Boy and His Blob.
Really? I hate that game.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that game.
You don't like good games, so it's fine.
It's just confusing. Okay. The manual doesn't tell you jack shit. You don't know what to do with the jelly beans.
As far as sidekicks go in a video game, Knuckles or Jason Voorhees?
Wait, how is Jason a sidekick?
He's in the game.
You make him your bitch. But I'll tell you this. Knuckles is not afraid of his mother's sweater. So I think you got to go Knuckles.
Knuckles also likes Pretty Woman, so...
Walking down the street?
Yeah, the movie.
Okay.
The movie.
It's canon.
How come that's not a video game? How come we didn't get a Richard Gere Pretty Woman video game?
Like you
We
have
got
to
Cool
go
World.
shopping. You have to go convince pompous shopping people that like you're not a prostitute when you are. Like
Just
that's
say
your
you
whole
gotta
goal.
hook your way into fucking fame. Is that how you do this?
The final boss is when you get to go back into the store and be like, big mistake, huge.
Big mistake.
If you like fashion and video games, I've been trying to get Chard to
Oh,
play a game
God.
all week
You
called
are
Infinity
not
Nikki.
fucking, we're not talking about that shit on a 1989
Uh,
fucking Friday the 13th inspired game. You're not bringing that shit up. No.
we got to do an episode
Stop.
on Infinity Nikki is going to be game of the year next year.
We're
I'm
not
telling
doing
you
a
now.
episode
That's
on
fine.
Infinite
That's
fucking
fine.
Nikki.
Oh, dear
You're doing
Lord.
it by yourself.
Oh, dear Lord.
It's got whimsy.
All right.
I don't even know what whimsy is. Sounds like Canadian
Whimsy.
magic.
Now, Whimsy's a side character.
Yeah, who's your favorite side character, Knuckle or Whimsy?
Awesome. Anything else to say about this amazingly wonderful piece
Only
of
thing
trash?
I'm going to say is when I was researching this episode, as we do, the in-depth research we do, we usually type in the YouTube to look up videos. And I did catch AVGN's video on this from 18 freaking years ago. Does that not make you feel ancient online? 18 years ago, a YouTube video existed on this game. That was interesting to watch. I'm not the hugest fan of AVGN, but goddamn, he's been doing this for a long time.
Saying that doesn't make me feel as ancient as saying 18 years ago was 2006.
That's
Yeah.
Shit.
yeah. When you put
Yeah.
a number on the number,
That hits a little harder, but I see where you're going with this.
yeah. Okay.
Gentlemen, I have a 26-year-old son. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm just gonna say to everyone, I highly suggest you go badge this game. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. God, is there Chivos
Don't
for
do
this
it.
game?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, okay. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate you all taking the time on a Friday the 13th to have one of our rare just shit on a video game episodes. We do need them every once in a while. It's a little cathartic, right?
Yeah.
Coming up for the rest of the year, I think we are going to be doing a recorded episode next week, I believe. So we may not be live next week. That next week being the 20th. And then we are also definitely not live on the 27th. We will be spending time with our families, but we will have an episode that will air on the 27th. While you're here, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Otherwise, for everybody out there, including our audio listeners, come join us in the Discord. Come chat with us. Come tell us what we got right, what we got wrong. You can find all of our info at pressb2cancel.com or pressb.org. And anything from y'all that you want to say, anything you're doing, anything you want to call out?
Well, we should also call out superpodnetwork.com.
Yes.
SuperPod Network, not SuperPod Network. I'm sorry.
That's a different
Jesus
network.
Christ. Aaron,
I
I'm sorry.
pronounced it correctly.
It's been 4 weeks where you fucked
it
this up.
correctly by accident.
We're going to get it right next week, I promise. Well, not next week
No,
because
I
it might
was
be
all
recorded.
ready. I just mispronounced it.
on the pre-recorded one.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to add it to my end list, right? I got to get it plugged in there.
We are loosely affiliated with a handful of podcasts through the SuperPod Network, so go check out the website.
Yeah.
I'm
actually
can I
be
just go
guessing
play
on
Where's
one
Waldo
of them.
now?
Yes.
Yes, you should do Where's Waldo.
I'm gonna go play Mario is Missing.
Jake and I might go play Path of Exile too.
Yeah,
No,
that
you
came
go
out in
play
early
good
access,
games.
and Chard and I are playing quite a bit of it. So I think him and I are going to do an episode in the near future on that one, just to kind of touch base on Path of Exile. You don't need to buy it today if you don't want to pay money for it. Just wait for when it comes out fully next year. But it's like the third It's the best version of Diablo 2 I've ever played, and I've said that a few times now for games that aren't made by Blizzard. It's kind of interesting, so I definitely look forward to talking about that one in depth. I really dig that one.
Game of the year?
Infinite Nikki is hitting pretty strong.
Jesus.
It's got biking. It's got BMX tricks, diva fashion battles, costumes, gliding, exploration. Guys, this hits all the keynotes of a perfect video game.
What was it called in the Discord?
A farming fashion game, I think.
Farming, fishing, fashion game, something like that.
Farming, fishing, fashion game, which is my favorite genre. I don't know about you guys, but when I saw the trailer during the Game Awards last night, I was pretty stoked. Apparently, it's a franchise. There's multiple of these games. Look, I'm not going to stop talking about it until we do an episode on this, so get used to playing it. It's free. It's on phone. It's on Windows. Jared's like distancing from the camera. He's had enough.
Trying to leave.
Repelled.
Trying to leave the conversation.
Yeah. All right.
Dark Souls on that.
Well, I think I'm going to put a button on this right there. This seems like a good time to finish this up. Everybody, thank you. We appreciate you being here. Happy whatever holidays you celebrate. Christmas, Hanukkah, Yule, Kwanzaa, Ramadan. I don't know enough. But any of these, we wish you a happy holidays. And we will see you live probably in a couple 2-3 weeks.
Yes.